Thank you for inviting me, Alejo and Tiffany, and thank all of you for coming to Chicago. I'm looking forward to talking with most of you, an opportunity for us to get to know you more. Our goal, obviously, is to help grow Money Smart Week. And as Terry Savage said, economic growth. I think Money Smart needs its economic growth. We need to continue to grow. And I think libraries are a great venue for that to happen. And that's how we kind of got involved with Money Smart Week. I'll just kind of give you a quick, see if I can get this to work. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Just ALA, a little bit of background about the American Library Association. We're here in Chicago. That's our main headquarters. We were founded way back in 1876. Melville Dewey, of Dewey Decimal fame, was one of our founders. So it's one way to remember how we got started. We do have around 60,000 members in the United States and also international members. And we do represent all types of libraries, American Library Association. So academic libraries, public libraries, school libraries, on all types of special libraries. And we also, for this program, we also have chapters in all 50 states. So there's an Illinois Library Association, there's a Michigan Library Association, Iowa, et cetera, et cetera. And so just wanted to kind of give you a background on who we are and why libraries are good partners for this program. As you saw before, our mission obviously is to provide resources for the public of all types, whatever community you're serving. Libraries can be part of the solution, and that's one of the things we're trying to promote in these days of fiscal constraints. When they're asked, well, why are libraries still important? Well, libraries can be part of the solution, and we've certainly seen that. Those of you who have libraries as part of your coalition partners, you're seeing the value of libraries, as Tiffany mentioned, as they have meeting spaces. They are a neutral, objective place for people to meet and talk about ideas and issues. They are engaged in providing a wealth of resources for people, not just the meeting space, but once again, you have books, you have databases, you have all these different resources that libraries have that you can utilize. The libraries, I think, also provide you, some of the talk was branding. Having libraries involved also help you with the access to people that you're trying to reach in your programs. Also visibility. People go to the library not just for financial literacy, they're coming for all different things. And this is an opportunity, they'll see something. Well, there's programming on financial literacy. Well, I'll come in, they'll find out what's being offered by the Money Smart Week coalition, opportunities for other activities. Libraries have good connections with the media. We've certainly seen this with the Money Smart program. The libraries, and that's another challenge for libraries, is visibility on their own. But by them being part of Money Smart Week, they're able to increase their visibility. It seems to resonate with the media, so they're able to get the message out. When they're doing a program, it seems to get pretty good attention. So the Money Smart Week programs at libraries aren't really hidden. They're getting out there. They're getting out to your target audiences, as we learned about earlier. Just a little background about libraries in general. I know most of you, you have your public library, and that's probably your main image of public library of libraries. There's about 7,500 public libraries in the United States. If you count branches, that's about 16,000. Library points. You count school libraries, there's over 100,000 school libraries. You count academics, that's probably another 20,000. So you're looking, 140,000 places where you can do Money Smart Week programming. So we see this obviously as a great growth market for libraries, and also a great fit. And going back to the ecosystem, I want to explain that a little bit more. For the coalition groups, libraries, like I said, you're kind of familiar with public libraries. Each state has a state library, or what is called a state library agency. Some are officially called state libraries, some are called commissions or some other group. Most of them are focused more on serving public libraries, but they are, once again, part of state government. And so what we're trying to do is to connect you, the coalitions with those state agents, the state library agencies. And so that's kind of one of our major goals this year. The first year, as Tiffany mentioned last year, we were just kind of getting started, getting people familiar with it, also more or less proselytizing it to our community to say you should get involved with this. We're hoping that that will happen this year. So anybody who already has a state coalition, so the ones in the district plus the other ones, I want to introduce you to not both the state library agency and also to the State Library Association. Those are the two key groups that I think can help you to have them be part of the coalitions that you're involved in, because then they can help promote it through all their mechanisms, not just ALA's mechanisms, media and everything, to get others, libraries involved, so once again, to help you grow your programs. Why is the partnership such a great fit for us? And I guess as far as looking at potential partners down the road, you want, and it obviously has to be something that matches your mission, your goals and objectives. We actually heard about Money Smart Week because one of my colleagues went to the Wisconsin Library Association meeting in fall of 2009, and Lori Burgess, who was from Fond du Lac Public Library, was giving a program. And my colleague came back and said, hey, there's this interesting program, and he had this whole sheet of what the Fond du Lac, the whole newsprint idea, activity, and we're just thinking, well, Feds, yeah, they're a trusted organization, I think. We could probably work with them. Once again, we are a national association that represents all types of libraries, and we do, once again, if there's a good regional program, we do have that opportunity, ability to take it national, and so we were interested in that respect. Certainly from my chapter perspective, and we do have some programs that are specific for certain types of libraries, but this Money Smart Week was open for all types of libraries, and we certainly saw that in the presentation that Lori gave in Wisconsin, because there were community colleges were part of the coalition, universities are part of the coalition, school districts were already part of the coalition, and public libraries were part of the coalition. So it met our criteria there. Literacy, obviously, for libraries, you think libraries are involved in literacy. It is a key action area for the American Library Association. And, literacy is in its broad scope is not just reading, obviously. And certainly now, these days, information literacy is a key component that we're working with from, preschool all the way up through academic and beyond. And obviously, financial literacy is just another piece of that. So it kind of fit in with that part. And ALA and libraries love to celebrate weeks. So the fact that it was a week was very important to us. We have National Library Week, we have Banned Books Week, we have Teen Read Week, we have Privacy Week. We love to have weeks where so we can focus attention and get people excited to come to the library. And I think it helps us our programming so we don't get too scattered, So it's like, okay, we're going to focus a little bit more on this activity during this week. So, and also branding. We have a brand that could fit very well, our At Your Library brand, and just wanted to, and then from our perspective as an association, when I started looking at this and looking at the website and seeing all the coalition lists of the different partners that you guys have all put together, I was just amazed. It's libraries obviously also need to reach out, and so we think this program helps libraries to raise their visibility, their connections within their communities to help do activities. So once again, all of these lists of different partners, which most of you are under one of or many of these categories, fits really well in what we're trying to do, is how the library participates in the community activities to be part of that solution. So this is our brand. Like I said, we already had this At Your Library brand that we started in 2001, and it's a public awareness campaign, so it's fairly similar to Money Smart Week. And these are just kind of examples of how the campaign, some of the different offshoots that we've had of the campaign. And so after that, learned about the program, we set up a meeting with Alejo, came down and talked about it. And obviously as the background that Alejo was talking about this morning, Money Smart Week has become so successful in the region that it was spreading out. All of you got, we've got West Virginia, Texas, Houston, Kansas City. And the question was, if it keeps expanding, how do we kind of, keep that control, or how do we make it more of a synergistic campaign? And like I said, because of all the activities we do, as you know, libraries are going to be everywhere. Wherever you are, there's going to be libraries, public libraries, school libraries, university libraries. So we kind of fit in very well that, you know, wherever a new campaign would start, libraries could be involved. So we would be across all of them. It wouldn't just be in a certain region or anything like that. And then we obviously were able to merge the two brands. So Money Smart Week at your library. And they were Alejo was very receptive to that. We actually already did have involvement with some financial literacy. ALA has been for the last, I don't know, Bobby, 8 years maybe?
2007.
2000, okay, so it's only 4 years. Coming on 5. Seems a long time. We've been receiving grants from FINRA to do smart investing at your library. And this is a grant program that provides money to a number of libraries around the country, public libraries, to create specific financial literacy programming that would kind of last maybe for a whole year or a year and a half or whatever. And it's a great program, but the problem was that, you know, only a few libraries got to get the money every year to do it. And so what we wanted to do was to find a program that would allow all types of libraries to participate in financial literacy. And so that's why Money Smart Week was so you know, so attractive to us. And then, like I said, it's been a great partnership so far with, you know, we've been only involved for a little over a year, but, you know, with Alejo and Tiffany and their staff people, we've created a special part of the Money Smart Week website is Money Smart Week at your library. And we then put together a coalition with Bobby and Lori Burgess and other people who already were librarians involved in Money Smart Week activities over the last 10 years or a couple years, to help actually us as an association figure out, well, how do we want to best roll this out and everything. So we, you know, put together the website. Bobby and others put together a nice resource guide that I'll show you here, which, you know, libraries, you know, once again, looking at the best practices that we're going to look at later, you know, if you're a library, what are the best practices of using Money Smart Week at your library? And so we took advantage of the experience that was already there. Bobby and others put together resources. You know, if you're going to do something on basic banking, here are some great resources that you want to have when you have your programming or put on your website that you're going to create. These are some programming ideas. So, you know, at ALA, we also create all these toolkits. So whenever there's a new activity, we'll create a toolkit. You know, how do you do something? You know, and so this is kind of that following that philosophy. So for each one of the categories that you guys are familiar with, we have this whole array of, here are some key resources that you want to utilize. Here are some good ideas that you could do. And so then we've created a webinar. We more or less had a webinar for across the country. We had about 300 people last year participate in that. That was the day there was the big blizzard here. So it's our blizzard webinar, we remember it as. And we've also been promoting it at our annual conferences. The last 2 conferences that we had one in the summer that Tiffany came down in New Orleans. We're going to be promoting it at state regional conferences this fall. We're going to be in at least 5 or 6 this fall, and hopefully we'll get West Virginia on board. I'm still working on the library group. It's not Susan's. It's not her fault. She's ready to go. I'm trying to get the library people to give us a slot for their conference. But we really think that, you know, this year will be a great year for growth. Once again, specific materials. Once again, the Fed was very gracious to, more or less, as Tiffany will mention, to make it easier, just modify Money Smart Week, add Money Smart Week at your library. These were downloadable materials, that, especially for those libraries that are not in the coalitions. You know, it's very important that they don't have to spend a lot of money, a lot of resources to participate and do things. And we did have our own surveys. We had actually an emerging leaders group within ALA librarians who are, you know, younger to the profession, and helped us with a survey result. And as Tiffany mentioned, we had libraries in 30 states participated in 2011. You know, we're hoping for 50 this year. So we're going to target getting at least one library in every state to participate. Obviously, we want to grow in each of the states. I know in some states with the coalitions, you already have good presence of libraries, such as Illinois and Wisconsin and Iowa. I think there needs, you know, once again, I think Michigan, Indiana, and some of the others, the presence isn't so strong yet. So I think that's where we want to work with you to help connect the libraries to you so that we can get you to get more more reach within your state or within your region. So I think that's what we can kind of bring to the table. The fact that a lot of libraries that participated had not done financial literacy programming before. Libraries do programming on lots of different things, but it's, once again, getting them to focus on this is a key issue that is, as Terry mentioned earlier, it is so critical at all levels, levels of a person's life, and libraries can reach out to all those different levels as well. So we're very pleased that we're kind of getting the libraries themselves to focus a little more on financial literacy as a programming item. We think that has value. And the fact that one of the other reasons is that we wanted to connect the libraries to you, to the banking, the financial institutions, to the extension community, the credit unions, even the Veterans Affairs, the state government folks. A lot of people that libraries didn't have a great linkage to before, and maybe they didn't have a good hook to kind of get in. Well, now you already have the hook for them. They can just participate. So we were very pleased that 83% of them found partnerships to help their programming activities in their first year. And most of them said it met their expectations. Obviously, as you know, sometimes the programs are very wildly successful. Some of the programs you don't have as great attendance as you want to. But once again, by looking at best practices, what programs did resonate, what programs did work, what are the hot topic issues that you might want to look at. It seemed to be like one of the things that I certainly became shred day at your library, where people would come in, you could shred all your financial materials. Well, someone in Iowa had done that. It was very successful. A number of the new libraries picked that up, and that was kind of one of their key programming activities, was these shred days. And then they were able to work with the local police or some other group to work on that. And most of them will participate in 2012, so those that did participate. The 14% that are not there, they're not sure. It wasn't that they weren't going to do it, they just weren't sure yet. So pretty much we almost had 100% participating. So just kind of the overall, we want to increase participation. Like I said, this was our first year. Last year as being kind of this first national partner for Money Smart Week with the Chicago Fed. Public libraries, I think, are a pretty easy sell to try to get them involved. The academic libraries and the school libraries, a little bit harder for them. Programming is not something that it's not a core activity they always are doing. But I think we are getting more academic libraries involved, and I know many of you are involved in doing financial literacy programming on campus. If you don't have the library involved, I'd like to have you connect with the library, because once again, depending on where you're having your programs, library is a great space. Most students know where the library is. Not all of them, but the majority of them do. So I think it's a good location to kind of have a partnership with. Certainly, I want to interest the librarians in places where they don't have programming yet, is you be a leader. I want the libraries where you don't have a coalition or you don't have somebody to be a leader in helping to establish the coalitions. And also, as I mentioned, for the coalitions to become major players. As you can tell, with Bobby and others in the Chicago area, the Wisconsin group, the libraries are really key players in those coalitions, and I want the libraries in all coalitions to be part of that. Like I said, we're going to have another webinar this fall. It's going to be October 26th, so we're hoping more libraries around the country. They're starting to get, once again, as Jenna said, the marketing, we're starting to get the brand is out there a little bit, so we're getting more inquiries about that, and as I mentioned, state conference presentations. And then, like I said, what I really want to do is start connecting you to some of these higher level groups, state level groups within your states, the state library agencies, the state library associations. I think this is a good year. Not all of them may participate, but once again, I think by 2013, we should be able to get all of them participating. And once again, it's just, so instead of maybe, I think in Wisconsin, when Lori did the presentation, five public libraries were involved in 2009. Last year, there were 25 libraries or library systems that were involved. So that might be 50 libraries, public libraries that were involved. So the potential is there to really utilize the libraries to grow the coalitions. And I think from our perspective, it's a very beneficial partnership, and hopefully to you it will be as well. So I'd like to then bring up Bobby to talk more from a library perspective, how the library works within the coalition. Like I said, I'm just kind of that 40,000 feet overview of the activity, and then we'd be happy to answer questions after that. So,
thank you, Michael. And thanks to all of you for attending this conference, and also for the great work that all of you are doing in financial literacy. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my role and where I fit in with the ALA project and with Money Smart Week at your library. I'm, as Tiffany mentioned, I'm business librarian at the Naperville Public Library. It's 30 miles west of Chicago in suburban DuPage County. Our library serves a community of about 150,000 people, and we have tremendous traffic inside the building and also on our website. We have had a lot of success with financial education. We've been a recipient of Smart Investing at Your Library project, which is how I got involved in Money Smart Week before it was Money Smart Week at Your Library. Many of my colleagues in libraries in the area have set a precedent for effective financial programming in libraries, and it's really connected to the services that we provide to the community by providing resources and information. So it's in everything we do is connected with everything else. And I would just like to mention Terry Savage at the beginning of the program recognized Chicago Public Library, and I think Jeanette Kopax is here, as well as Robin Willard. Chicago Public Library has been involved from the very beginning, as Terry mentioned, and they have set the bar for year-round financial education in libraries. So the area libraries in the Chicago area really appreciate having that kind of leadership and example for libraries in this area. So they've been doing great work all year round, and they also have a Money Smart brand, so they have Money Smart programs. So I apologize, Jeanette, are you here? I have to step in. That our library is modeling that and branding our financial education programs that meet Money Smart Week guidelines all year round. So that's something that, it's as a continued effort is a real benefit to the community. Libraries have been involved in financial literacy for decades, even before there was such a word. And what I tell groups and librarians that I speak to is that they have been involved in financial literacy without even knowing it. Most libraries are tax-supported public institutions, and we have a responsibility to contribute to the quality of life, lifelong learning, educational opportunities, and to the whole community, and as well as economic development. So we serve the needs of all ages, all income brackets, and people in all walks of life. We have seen increased traffic and increased demand on public libraries during this economic downturn. And the main reason for that is obvious. We provide free resources, free access to programming, books and materials to check out. We've become increasingly relevant in the technological age by providing things like downloadable books, online databases, as well as a presence in social media in order to connect with our audiences. So we really we're able to, as Michael mentioned, we have tremendous scope and abilities to connect with our communities. We pride ourselves in providing trustworthy information, resources, technology, and expertise. We're able to provide communities with the most, with the best resources and subscription databases that people normally don't have access to. A few examples of these are things like investment databases. We can offer research level material for people at all stages of business and finance. Our library has about 12 business and financial research databases. And on any given day in a library, we might help somebody with doing market analysis for a business plan, anything ranging from locating historical stock prices for companies that are not traded anymore, developing target lists of potential employers for a job seeker, or helping a job seeker prepare for an interview by getting the best and most current information on companies and industries. So we are, on a daily basis, we are connected with the business environment and the financial situation in our communities. The business community has come to recognize our library as a strong force in melding the local spheres of influence. The library can serve as neutral territory for the private, governmental, and public sectors to address common concerns. This was a case study on a library in central Long Island in New York, and it was published by ALA just this past year. And when I was looking at the creative ways where the library is promoting business development and financial literacy in their community, it reminded me that this kind of project can serve as a model for developing important community relationships for citizens and businesses. As I mentioned, this whole Money Smart Week project is based on coalitions and sharing of information. The Federal Reserve obviously is the center of this. The involvement with ALA gives us access to regional library systems, and it filters down to public libraries, which connect directly to their communities. And at the grassroots level, public libraries can work with businesses to promote local partnerships with nonprofits in their area, colleges and universities, as well as local government agencies. In Naperville, I do quite a bit of work with an organization called the Community Career Center, and we've partnered with that group to offer in-house programming for job seekers on just job strategies and dealing with coping with unemployment. And part of that partnership, I am out in the community and doing library presentations at their facilities. So that way, I connect with their audiences, and they're able to provide expertise to the library community who visits our library. So we've been partnering as part of Money Smart Week and beyond. Organizations like SCORE, and similarly, they come in and do programs in our library, and I might go out and speak with their counselors, and they send their clients to me to work on their business plans. So it's all kind of a synergistic kind of an arrangement where we're connecting on a grassroots level. And Money Smart Week, obviously, when we have 1 week to highlight those kinds of capabilities, it really makes more of an impact. But as I mentioned, we do this kind of work all year round. Michael touched on the benefits of partnering with libraries. We are more than just business availability for meeting space. Libraries like to be active participants in the process. We feel that we're connected with the needs and interests of our community. We talk to people who come into the building. We know what kinds of materials are being checked out. We track database usage. So we have a good feel on what our communities want and what kind of information they're looking for. So that enables us to determine what the most effective partners for us on a grassroots level. We obviously, as Michael mentioned, provide promotion and publicity just in terms of posters and signage in the library, websites that generate tremendous traffic, thousands of hits. So when Money Smart Week programs are highlighted, we can generate a lot of interest and a lot of attendance. We also have quite a bit of staff expertise. Librarians are accustomed to people asking for things like RMA annual statement studies or stock research. We're fluent in navigating Value Line and Morningstar Investment Research Center. We use these tools on a regular basis, and we work with the unemployed to get company information. So we were able to put all those things together and to provide information and effective programming that meets all of those needs. On the left of this screen, the general topics that Alejo, Tiffany, and Michael have alluded to are categories that are set by the Money Smart Week Committee to divide and structure the program topics. So I've listed a few of these on the left. Things like credit and debt, financial emergencies, investing, housing. These are the categories that from which Money Smart Week programs are generated. And often by looking at the calendar, libraries and partners can get ideas. Okay, maybe we'll do a program on the current real estate market or something on identity theft. Just by getting ideas just from the sheer range of possibilities. And on the right side of the screen, these are examples of institutions that we've worked with. Our library has partnered with a number of these kinds of organizations, banks, credit unions, credit counseling services. We've had a very good, effective partnership with the University of Illinois Extension, and Karen Chan, who's sitting right in front, has been instrumental in providing a really effective program to our community, as well as libraries in the Chicago area. Many city and state treasurers are active in this campaign regionally, and I know Wisconsin has a big presence there. Professional associations like Financial Planning Association, AICPA has a big presence in financial information. They have a very good website called 360 Degrees of Financial Literacy. Things like SCORE, the Small Business Administration, SSA. I mean, there's no end to the possibilities for partnerships in sharing information. Okay, how does this work? For us, it's been an evolving project. In the Chicago area, we're fortunate to be able to share a lot of ideas about programs and resources. We go to partner meetings where partners will share ideas and let libraries and other organizations know what they have to offer and what their areas of expertise are. So libraries or organizations can make decisions or choose topics for programs and work together in that kind of a partnership. On a smaller level, and I know some smaller communities that work with community agencies. I'm also, as Michael mentioned, the Smart Investing Interlibrary Project. I'm on the advisory committee for that, so I'm really aware of the really constructive and effective work that can be accomplished when libraries and community organizations work together to promote financial literacy. As I mentioned, there's really no end to the possibilities. I was just going to highlight one of our events that grew out of a partnership that we developed with the Illinois Credit Union League. They have done a number of programs for us as part of the PBS Biz Kids series that's on Channel 11 here in Chicago, and it is a national project. So their financial educators in the Credit Union League go out to either park districts or libraries or other organizations and schools even to present programs based on the Biz Kids series, and they also have a series of DVDs that libraries can purchase and have available for checkout. We've done Biz Kids programs on things like basic budgeting, identity theft was more a high school audience, and this past spring, we decided to really take the plunge and do a financial reality fair for teens. And this involved 20 credit union volunteers, that had exhibits and stations where teens would visit these different tables and make decisions about what cars they were going to purchase or how they were going to spend their money on food, housing, and it was an exercise in personal finance because they had to make budgets and decide that whether they had money for this kind of a car or an SUV or whatever. So it was a fun, interactive activity. We attracted 75 teens. It was really popular. So we're always trying new things and partnering with organizations that can provide us with volunteers and expertise and new ways of presenting material that will attract new audiences. So that's what reality fairs are. I have the logo on the left. You may notice that it says that it's Connecticut's credit unions. These reality fairs are done all over the country. The logo was created by the group in Connecticut, but actually the people that did it for us in Illinois came from the Illinois Credit Union League. So that was a really fun event. Through sustainable partnerships with nonprofits, agencies, government, and the business community, libraries will continue to promote financial stability and improve quality of life. We enthusiastically support and embrace Money Smart Week initiatives. We believe that financial education will play a significant role in economic growth and recovery, and we look forward to continued growth and expansion of Money Smart Week and similar projects on a local, regional, and national level. And thank you all for coming, and we can take questions as appropriate.
Questions?
There's a couple back there.
Hi, I'm Melissa from the Bloomington Normal campaign, and we maybe are in the minority. We have not had very good luck working with our local libraries, and I was wondering if maybe you could give us just some tips on, even when we call, like, who do we ask for? Do we ask for the librarian, or if we want to do a kids program, do we need to talk to that person separately, or how do we even go about maybe building that relationship?
Well, I've heard this, this is an ongoing issue with providers and partners that want to present in libraries. And there's been, in my experience, kind of a reluctance to have financial providers in the library over concern of conflict of interests and the possibility that a partner or a financial services organization will be promoting their services. And one of the advantages of participating in Money Smart Week is that built-in guideline that it's a strictly educational program and no products will be sold or promoted. And Alejo is at all partner meetings has that comes out all the time. And because libraries are perceived as trustworthy places, we monitor that ourselves. So what I can suggest to you is, when I was talking about how these things work, there are many ways to do that. You might, rather than just calling a library and trying to get the right person to speak to, you might want to be more aware of what the library, what's going, I can't speak for your, is this Bloomington Public? Is that what you're speaking of? Bloomington, okay. You might want to find out what kind of information they have, what they're doing, do they have a librarian that is specializes in business? What kind of financial resources do they have? You might approach the library and say, well, this is the information that you have. We perceive that there's a community need for this topic, and this is what we can offer you. The more you know about what that library has, what kinds of information and services that they already offer, maybe you can fit what you're proposing. But it's, keep in mind these partnerships, it's sometimes a matter of libraries going out and, let's say I wanted to have a program on financial emergencies. I might, just from what I know about who's presenting and the organizations that provide that information, I might go out and request that that person do a presentation at the library. But it also works. I've had people come to me with an idea, say, yeah, I think that would work. So the more you know about, I assume you know a lot about your community, but this kind of gatekeeper issue it does exist. And if there is no partnership network in Bloomington, what you might take the steps to start one, to start a dialogue going, to invite representatives from the library to an informal network, not necessarily a formal partnership arrangement that we have here in Chicago, but just something to get people together to talk, rather than just say, I want to do this program. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And I have tried both, inviting them and sitting down with them, and we've had some luck. I just think we could do so much more. And I'm a former Naperville resident, so I wanted to say we missed your library. But we've tried. I don't want to poo-poo them because I think they're trying. It's just, I understand they have limited staff as well, but we're just not. We have a very superficial relationship, and I would like to see it
The
grow.
other thing, and I do this frequently, if a partner or a financial services provider asks me about a program, I might say, well, I can't accommodate that because we're booked for Money Smart Week this year, but you might try so-and-so, or I have colleagues in the area, you might try this library because maybe they're looking for that kind of information. But I think that it really hinges on how you can contribute to, because libraries are all about serving their communities. They like it when programming fits in with the kind of information, what they perceive, the kinds of questions they get, the needs of the community, and how that fits in with the whole picture. So if, for instance, 5 years ago, someone like yourself might have had trouble before we had a lot of activity in Money Smart Week, then maybe it's a matter of, okay, maybe we can try another audience. If a library is active in kids and teens programming, then maybe you could adjust what you have to offer for a different audience in that community. I don't know if that will help, but you might, what you might do is look around with other libraries. And then very often if you presented a program at a neighboring library, then it kind of builds on itself, because we do, I'll be honest with you, we do network, and we do, find out how things are going, and what works and what programs are most effective. So it really is, it's about sharing, but that can be used in a really positive way.
Question right here.
Hi, Gina Vincent with the FDIC in Dallas. We have almost the exact opposite issue. We got the support, overwhelming support of a huge public library system in one of our cities, and they did a fantastic job. We really thought we hit a home run. They surveyed all the librarians in the communities and asked what were the topics of interest from a list. We gave them, an example list. They asked for times of high traffic, when they saw people come in, what time of day might be the best day, language preferences, everything. The librarians gave us that information. We catered the classes around their needs and their community's needs. The library system itself promoted it, we thought, in an amazing way. They had their own posters in every location. Their website was really centered around the activity. They published their own calendar, cute little bookmarks, everything. But then 35 classes, and the attendance was 1 or 2 people, if any, at the classes. So how could we have gotten more people there?
Do you want to tackle that?
Yeah, that's Karen. Maybe Karen might want to. Yeah, we'll do a phone call to our expert here.
Yeah,
Karen
I'm
might.
one of the people who's partnered a lot with the libraries, and the first thing that I would say is libraries typically have, as an outsider, many libraries have sort of a reputation in the community about what kinds of services they provide. If this is a new area for them, they've got to build community interest or build community awareness that they're going to be offering this kind of programming. And it doesn't happen overnight. Some of the libraries that I've worked with, I've done those workshops where I was glad that the one person showed up. And they got a lot of personal attention. But I don't think you can judge from a one-shot time. And yours was, I know, a number of events, but if it was a one-year thing, it has to build. And our PR person earlier was talking about how many times somebody has to see something before it starts to register and they pay attention. And I think libraries face that too. So as somebody that has tried to work with libraries to build from that position, I would say just don't give up. You have to keep working at it. And maybe you don't do as many events, but you've got to cultivate the audience. It doesn't happen overnight, especially when this is a really new venture for a library system. That's my take.
Can you talk to them? 'Cause we'd love to have them back at the table, but yeah.
I can't tell you in one location well, actually I can. Chicago Public Library's Harold Washington Library downtown. If Jeanette were still in the room, she could probably tell us. The first workshops we did there, and this is going back 10 or more years probably, we had, 6, 8, 12. And more recently, we got to the point where we basically had to close the doors. Our room capacity was like 45 or something, and then we were there almost every time. But it built over a period of years. So it really has to be a dedicated effort.
Just a couple of comments when we were doing some discussions with some of the librarians. Yeah, there is, like I said, just like with everything, probably start small. Maybe, once again, maybe the library also bit off more than it could chew on variety and everything. So that's kind of some of the advice we got, that some libraries were, did 2 programs and they were very, very successful the first year, and then they did 12 programs and they didn't quite work as well. So that just might be pulling back a little bit. The other thing is because, even though it sounded like they did kind of everything you were supposed to do, maybe because it was kind of the first time as far as what really resonated, and that's where maybe the best practices that other libraries that have already done something, maybe looking at what some of those that seem to have resonated out in a different community, because even though sometimes they may say, or you might get someone will say, well, I'm most interested in this, but really it's the shred day that they'd really come out for, something like that.
Another, we have found that any time you put food out there, it can really, and it really depends. Sometimes it really depends on the topic. Like Karen has done topics for us that just attracted huge numbers, and things like making your money last in retirement or maximizing Social Security benefits, stuff that's in the news and it's timely. I'm not saying that wasn't the case with what you were offering, but I always remember, and in my library, success is measured quantitatively, so I feel like I'm always under pressure to have a large audience, and that means, when I say large, I mean over 50. But I've had, it's not unusual for me to get 100 people at one of our events. But it really, it totally depends. You have to be mindful of what's going on, in the community. I don't schedule programs on Monday night in the winter because of football games and all sorts of conferences, all sorts of things going on. But I always am mindful about what Alejo says when he's evaluating the results and doing the annual report, is that if you have an event and there are 5 people there, they're going to learn a lot more than in a room that's packed, that hot, where 100 people are there. So success, you can measure success in different ways. If it's a good program and there are 5 people there and they learn something that's going to help them improve their finances, that's a successful program. So I think we really have to adjust, our outputs and outcomes perspective. And I know that Money Smart Week is an outcomes based perspective. So I think, we really need to think about that. When you're when we think about changing lives and improving quality of life, it's not, sheer numbers aren't necessarily the most important thing.
Bobby, Jeff Bruce, FPA. Before I ask my question, a little comment with Karen Chan. The first year that we teamed up with Terry Savage at the Harold Washington Library, I showed up with about 50 financial planners to do pro bono consultation, and Terry was our keynote. The problem was nobody embraced the marketing ahead of time. So we only had, in a room that sat 385, we had about 40 attendees show up. I had more financial planners than I had audience. It's kind of embarrassing. The very next year, the library did an awesome job at marketing it, and so did Terry, and we filled the room to capacity, and we turned people away, and then people stayed around 2 to 3 hours waiting for a financial planner for our pro bono consults. So persistence pays off. So, and especially if the library embraces the marketing on it. But Bobby, as to my question, has the ALA communicated any pre-screening criteria for who your speakers or presenters would be used in your Money Smart Week events?
We have not, but as I mentioned, we do have the Smart Investing program that we have with FINRA that Bobby got a grant for. They're very, very restrictive because it's a FINRA program. Whereas that was the level, what interested us with Money Smart Week was it was more flexible. And I was a public library director before in a small town in Wisconsin, and getting a person from outside the community to come was hard to do. So yeah, we had a local Merrill Lynch person come and do just a general one. The thing is, and the other thing is because it is the guidelines within Money Smart are not to sell. They're for information. And so it's stated up front, the libraries have that as their, more or less, the information they give to the presenter. So they should be more amenable to having other people come in. They don't have to just be a scholar or, someone related to a objective group or a government agency. So, but once again, as Bobby said, it's really up to each library what they want to decide. So, but we don't say, no, you can't have a financial planner come in, because that's once we wanted this program, because we know in certain situations that might be the best person to have come.
And that, just a little bit more for those of you who are, I know there are people from Iowa here and Wisconsin too, and with Smart Investing at your library, the reason that it's so restrictive is because it's driven by a legal mandate that there can't be any participation by anyone who is FINRA registered, meaning that if they sell securities, then they can't participate because it violates the judicial decision where the money is going to go, because their funds come from fines on people who violate SEC regulations. So, for example, we wanted to have Terry as a speaker in our program, and she was disqualified because of being licensed, and so we couldn't use her. But we're talking about funding of up to $100,000 for these projects. Money Smart Week is much more, like Michael said, it's much more, it's attainable, it's smaller scale, it's not restrictive. Anyone can participate. Any community organization that agrees to the Money Smart Week guidelines. So it's really effective that way because it can reach everyone and is so inclusive, which is what I appreciate about participating. There's so many more options and possibilities. And I can say that there are a lot of financial services providers, banks, and for-profit companies that are doing great work in financial education. So I do recognize that. And I personally wouldn't not engage someone for doing a program that was FINRA registered. I mean, that's just kind of how it works. I mean, but we do need to have shared goals and, observe Money Smart practices.
Thank you. Two brief comments. One, given the fact that we're going to be using the month of April, it might be helpful if the libraries receive the bookmarks. So as a person checks out a book, they get a bookmark, Money Smart bookmark. That might let them know about the event itself. The second one is a little bit more of a marketing comment for us as partners, in that we in turn have to take some onus and responsibility for marketing our own events. The library is providing us with a space to host the event, but we can't expect them to provide all the marketing. We have to do some marketing ourselves and bring in some of our own people, prospects, however you want to classify them, and then look for that type of return. If you're going to go to a library and expect people to show up, make sure you take your card with you, because that might be the only thing you get is a book.
Well, I totally agree, and many of the partners that I work with programs throughout the year post the event on their website, and the Citizens Utility Board does that, and as well as speakers that I have for career counseling. An interesting study would be, when we do our evaluation, what motivated you to attend this program, and I think the overwhelming, for Money Smart, my understanding of the results is that the overwhelming results show that it was from the print calendar, Money Smart print calendar. So I think, that the Federal Reserve does, I think that the lion's share of the marketing, I think from Money Smart Week at least, comes from Money Smart Week promotions, but that, I'm not sure about that. As far as the bookmarks go, we check out 4 million items a year, so it would be sort of next to impossible to expect the Fed to give us like 200,000 bookmarks, but we do have those available. And I think most libraries that I know that participate really take this campaign pretty seriously. They have it right on their website. They have the marketing materials, and they do promote the Money Smart Week events in their newsletters. So, but I agree. It's really everybody coming together and doing what they can and participating. There's, one more last question.
This is to Michael. There are so many libraries and so many choices, and I'm sure you don't want calls from every single one of us to discover who we should be talking to. So do you have some recommendations as to, like, this was very useful listening to Bobby talk about what companies she's interested in Naperville and which ones she isn't. Can you put out a sheet of paper or something so that we have an idea as to how to go about contacting and who we should contact for whatever materials? And not everyone's a financial planner here, so there's different topics.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. The fact that Alejo was, like I said, put together the list, I think I'll be sending a message out to the whole list with some information such as that. That would be helpful. Once again, yeah, it's, the question is, do you want to reach out just to one specific library, or are you trying to reach, libraries across the country? That's a little different matter there, but definitely I'll put together some stuff, some ideas, and we'll probably talk to the committee group once again to find out how they prefer, as you said, kind of contacts and interaction. Depends, once again, if it's in the statewide area, like I said, probably working through the State Library Association. So that's kind of my goal also, is to get them involved, and then they can help be the main contact for you, because I don't want to field 9 million calls. Hopefully the Library Association within the state will be able to assist as well. So, and if any other questions later, we'll be happy to
We'll be here.
do that.